So we have our simulator running, and let's try to log in now. I'm going to use my email address that I used for registration. Let's click login. There is no user record corresponding to this identifier iOS dev. Okay, I have a typo here. And login again. And see, it prints go to app here. So let's quickly jump to our FireStore and refresh here to see if we have a user object. See, we have created a user collection, and then we have a document inside. So this document is holding the ID of the user. So if I go to my authentication, check the ID is PPSI0Z starts. So if I go here, the user authenticated here should have the same ID. So we are catching this and saving the user object there. So this works. And once the database is loaded, sometimes it takes more than usual to load, we can see what each document has. So this is our collection. Imagine all the users. Let's say you have 100,000 users. It's going to be under main category user, and underneath you are going to have all of your 100,000 users here. Then by selecting each user, you are going to see the information inside of each user, which is key value pairs. You see that about is empty string, avatar link empty string, city, Nicosia as I saved, country is currently empty string, date of birth. You see the format of this timestamp. It has the date of the creation, and it also provides the UTC +3, which is a unique time code, I think. With so it's basically saving the time zone as well. So we have our email, height is 0, image links, you can see it's an empty array, avatar links is an empty array, job title empty, then we have this object ID, which is exactly the same thing, push ID, profession, empty string, registration date, another timestamp, and the user name, which is set as well. So we have only a few things set here on our registration. The rest of information the user will be able to complete once he go to the settings and check out his profile, so he can add extra data about him. This is the bare minimum each user has to provide in order to use our application. Later on, we're going to create some dummy users. So you can see here it will be populated. We're not going to register every user because remember we are using email authentication. So if you want to register real dummy users, you will have to have real email addresses so you can verify the email address. So right now we have an option to log in and register, but what we want to do in our next lecture, this is what we're going to actually do, is it's not very convenient to log in every time you open the application. So if I rerun, it's going to ask me to log in again because we are not persisting the current state of application. So what would be good is every time our user opens the application, we could check if the user is logged in, and if the user is logged in, we just straight away go to application. We don't want to ask him to authenticate every time. But before I move there, I want to finish with this login screen. And the one missing thing, if I'm not mistaken, is this forgot password button. So if we go to our welcome view, we have this forgot password, and we're checking if email address is set. And if it's not set, we just show an error. And if it does, we are going to ask our code to reset the password. So let's write a function that is going to send the reset password link to our user object. So again, this I'm going to put in my fuser class here, and let's put it right before saving object. And this one is going to, let's put another mark here and say like resend links. And the function is going to be class function. So we don't have to initialize a user object like we do in order to use this save locally or save to Firebase, but we can just straight away call this on a class level. So we say class function, and I want to call this reset password and let's say 4, and we want to provide an email. So we want to know for which email password, for which email we want to reset the password. So the email is going to be string, and we're going to have a completion handler. And we have our error here in case if there is an error, which is an optional, and we are not returning anything, so it's a void. Okay, so again, let me close the left panel here. So we have this reset password function that takes an email, and then it has completion handler with an error. So we are going to try to send the reset password link, and in case if there was an error, we are going to tell our caller, whoever calls this function, that here is the error we received, or in case the error is nil, it means everything went according to the plan and a reset password email was sent to the user's email address. So in this case, we want to notify the user that he received an email, he should go and use that link to reset his password. So again, whatever has to do with authentication, we are going to access the Firebase Authenticator, like we are doing with creating a logging in. So we say auth.auth and we initialize it, and then we access our current user, because the current user is an object from our authenticator. So if you right click and jump to it, it will tell you what this is. This is just a user object. Pay attention, this is not an fuser class that we have created. This is a user object from Firebase. And authenticator always keeps track if there is a local user authenticated or no. So this is the currently logged in user on our application. So if this is an optional, because there may not be any logged in users. And what we want to do is to reload this user. So we want to check if this user was there. We want to just reload to see if it still persists, and you just hit enter with an error variable name. And if the user exists, what we want to do is to send the verification email. So again, I say authenticator current user dot send email verification with completion handler, and this just hit enter on it. Again, provide the variable name, in my case it's an error, and this will send a verification email to that specific email address. And we want to notify our completion here. We say completion and pass our error. So in case if there was an error, we are going to be notified and tell the user about it. So let's get back to our forget password function. And now we can call this reset password. Let's get rid of this. I can say fuser.reset password for email, and the email is going to be our email text field dot text completion. Hit enter, give it a variable name, and now we can do this one needs to be unwrapped because we can do it. We just checked if it's not empty. So now we can do the check. We say if error is not equals to nil, it means we have an error. and then we have else. So if there was an error, let's show it to our user. So we say progress AUT show error, and let's pass some message to it, which in our case is error. Force unwrap this, localized description. Again, I'm force unwrapping it because I just check it's not nil. And if it has no error, I can say progress AUT dot show success and pass a message. And I want to say, please check your email. All right, let's try to see if this thing works. So let's click on forgot password. It says please enter your email, and then I say iOS-school@gmail.com. So I say forgot password. It says please check your email. So everything went according to the plan, and we should receive an email. If you check your email address now, you will receive an automatic email from your Firebase stating your application name, and then there will be a link inside. You can follow that link, and the link will ask the user to provide a new password, and you can just change the new password on that link. And once you do that, you can come here and log in with actually the new password.